Well, interwebs, you joined me in a parking lot. I know, pretty exciting, right? Anyway, oh yeah, there's a car. So as soon as I start doing something, there's been no one here while I'm getting all the equipment and stuff set up, but as soon as I start doing something, they drive by. Anyway, there's somebody else coming in. Just wanted to make a quick video. I had made mention in my last video, actually, and put on Instagram about 8-9 months back, that I had bought a new / used car. I put this picture on Instagram, so picture. Yeah, picture. I put that picture on Instagram of the vehicle because you can tell it's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. So anyway, yeah, I just thought it'd be a good time to introduce you guys to the new car, considering, Moto is kind of in the name. So yeah, hang on one second. There we go. So that is, that's my BMW. That's my BMW. I really hope that came out in shot. I don't know if it did or not, so I'm going to try to turn some things around. Man, this thing's slow. There we go. So yeah, that's my BMW. Now, keen students of anything vehicular are going to notice that that's not a BMW. Clearly, it's just not. Basically, there's a really long story as to why I don't have the BMW, and just some words of caution to any of you that might be looking to purchase a vehicle. Let's go ahead and get in, and I'm going to go for a drive. No, this is not going to be a review of the Golf, the GTI-ness. It's going to be a just kind of don't do what I did, but I'll get into that. So yeah, I'm going to just jump in and we can go for a drive, and it'll kind of be like some old times, and I'll explain that little story to you. So give me just a second. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Basically, long story short-ish about the BMW. So I purchased the BMW from CarMax in Parker, Colorado. It was listed online. I found it on cars.com or Auto Trader or Car Gurus or something. One of those, not even sure which one. Blah, 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 looked good. They had a Carfax online, looked at that. Everything was straight. Car had been in no accidents. I was going to be the third owner, I believe. Mrs. Panda and I went down to Parker from where we live after work one day. Checked out the car. It was in the dark, but, looked it over, and all in all, everything looked pretty good. Like the car, it had some scratches and stuff. It's to be expected. It was older. They had it listed for book value, so no real problems there. Everything's good and fine as far as that goes. They gave me what I wanted to trade in on my car that I'd gotten when I got rid of my truck, because I needed something that got better gas mileage and stuff. So everything was kind of cool, and we fill everything out. We're doing the paperwork. We're buying the car. They show me a Carfax. It lined up to the one I looked at online. Everything's totally good. So get the car. Happy with the car. Bought it on a Tuesday. I believe Monday or Tuesday night. That following Thursday, we were going to be leaving to go to Durango, the only trip I ever make. We already had the trip planned, so we were going to head there. So we took, obviously, the BMW, and I loved it. I mean, it was heavy, but just the speed and everything of it, just how quick it was, and it was really kind of fun on some of the more sweeping, roads that you get on a road trip up in the mountains around here, like one of the more mainstream roads, I guess. Really enjoyed the trip. But we get to Durango, we get to the hotel, check in, pop the trunk to grab bags. I close the trunk down, and one of the tail lights that was on the trunk lid just boop popped out. Credit where credit's due to the tape job, because it was really good. But it was taped with clear packaging tape, and had been I guess squeegeed or something so that it would be perfectly smooth. Even knowing it was there after it popped off, I still couldn't see it on the light itself. I just could see where it wrapped around the side. So anyway, I found out that a light was taped in. Simultaneously, a bulb on the opposite side of the actual body tail light went out. Being who I am, went to AutoZone or O'Reilly's or whoever in Durango and replaced the light. Didn't fix it. So naturally, finding this out, I called CarMax immediately and scheduled an appointment, and I was like, this is whatever. And they're like, yeah, just bring it in. We'll get it taken care of. So I brought it in. At the same time, I also noticed that in Colorado, we have very, very pronounced crowned roads. So if anything, if your car's going to drift or anything, it's going to drift to the right. when we were down in southern Colorado, down in Durango, I noticed while I was driving it back and forth to my in-laws' house, even on the severely crowned roads, it was pulling to the left. So whenever I took it in for the other issue, I told them, check the alignment. CarMax didn't do anything. This was CarMax in where I live. They just like, we're just going to take it to BMW. So they took it to BMW. Now keep in mind, this is already in the shop after I've had it for a week. I had it for a week. They took it to BMW. BMW said that it had an oil leak, so CarMax paid to fix that. Both tie rod ends were seized up front, so they paid to replace those and do the alignment. Replaced the taillight assembly, replaced both taillight assemblies, actually, the one that had popped out and the one that had an electrical failure. So yeah, and it seemed totally good. Like CarMax took care of it. They were like, yeah, whatever, we'll just pay for it. So after not having my car for a week, it was then in the shop for about a week before I got it back. But they took care of all of it, and that was about $3,000 worth of repairs. I take the car, everything's good or whatever, and then all of a sudden the driver's door won't unlock, or it will unlock and then it locks again, and there was no real reason why. And there was a funny noise that just didn't sound quite the aristocratic Germanic, what you would expect from German engineering, dull thud when you close the door, like something with the driver's door sounded a little off. So called CarMax. It was still under their 4-month warranty thing. I took it in. They took it to BMW, and I didn't have it for a week again. And they replaced the driver's side door lock actuator, and that was to the tune of about another $900 or something. So basically, CarMax put about $4,000 into the car, and everything seemed good. And then I came out from work one day, and I looked at it, and I noticed that the camber on the front right tire looked like it was kind of bent in. And then I started actually like comparing the sides, and it seemed lower. Oh, and I also forgot the driver's side front headlight actually pointed completely to the right and down. So that was another thing I had to do before we even took it to Durango in the first week of having it, is adjust the headlights. Did that, whatever, and I noticed it was lower when I came out from work, so I kept looking at it, and I wasn't quite sure, but then I finally got a tape measure and actually measured both sides. Wheels and tires on the passenger side were actually inset, had more camber, and it sat about an inch lower on the right side. So I took it to get just have a shop look at it and kind of give me an idea of what maintenance it would be due for because of the mileage, and just take a look and see if there was anything off with the suspension or anything like that. They looked and said there was absolutely no damage or anything to the suspension. It was totally good, totally clear, totally clean, no problems. They did notice it was set down. They checked the alignment. The alignment was out. Now keep in mind, BMW just a couple of months before had already done an alignment, allegedly, but the alignment was out, and they told me, this other shop said, that every single adjuster was completely maxed out. It could not be brought into adjustment. So they got kind of curious about it and pulled up a Carfax. And the Carfax they pulled up said that I was actually the 5th owner, and it had been in a severe accident on the, what it basically covered was the driver's side door up through the front of the vehicle. So, I forgot to tell you, sorry. Before I took it into the shop, Mrs. Panda and I actually went for a drive up in the mountains. She took her car, I took the BMW. I noticed that the steering was actually sticking when I made right-hand turns. So if I was in a right-hand corner, it would stick. And I mean, stick to the point that I could actually let go of the wheel and it would just keep turning. So most of the time you let go of the wheel, it tries to straighten up. Didn't do that at all. Left-hand turn, totally normal. Right-hand turn, locked. So anyway, I found out, obviously, the vehicle had been in a severe accident. So I went and looked at my paperwork from when I bought the car, because I had looked at a Carfax for that year of BMW, everything, same features, all this stuff, mileage. So I look at my paperwork, and I don't have a Carfax report in my paperwork. I had an Experian or something like that. Totally different than what I looked at the dealership. Totally different than what I looked at online. Find this out, and they said basically everything looked good, but essentially to get the alignment straight and get everything done, I would have to replace every suspension component. I was most likely looking at having to replace electronic power steering rack. Long story short, because of the damage, the car was nowhere near worth what I owed on it, and I would have had to pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $8,000 to try to get it right. And I'm not convinced that the subframe wasn't bent from the collision, because of the fact that everything looked good, allegedly. Even having multiple shops look at it, everything looked good, but from a component standpoint, but it sat lower on the right-hand side. What's believed to have happened is they had Carfax report for a very similar car that wasn't actually that car. I mean, in hindsight, like whenever I asked for a copy of the Carfax, they were kind of shady about it. And like, yeah, we'll put one in your paperwork. And like, they were really like kind of meh about it, but it was late and kind of been a long day, so I didn't really think anything of it then. But anyway, basically, it came down to I could put X thousands of dollars into fixing it and then still have a car that had damage on its record that may or may not have ever gotten fixed properly and would never be worth close to what I owed on it. Or I could pay the same X thousands of dollars just to get out from underneath it. So Mrs. Panda and I talked at length about it and decided, obviously, because I'm in a Volkswagen, to go the get rid of it route. So we found this car, went and worked a deal, traded in the broken BMW. The dealership we traded it into pulled a Carfax. They saw that it had been in an accident, but it did actually hurt the trade-in value. And the worst part about it is because my paperwork says what it says and I don't have that original Carfax that I looked at, I have absolutely no recourse in this whatsoever. Take the loss and the life experience and just move on. This vehicle, far lower mileage, maintenance costs, if anything does come up, is far lower. This has warranties and all of that stuff, and my payment's lower, and, you know, for some reason I thought BMW was the answer. And it's not. Golf is always the answer. That's what I've learned. The answer is always Golf. I just love a GTI. They're inconspicuous and unassuming, but you can tune the ever-loving crap out of them for pretty cheap, and, you know, they're just overall a good car. I never even considered that anybody would be that crooked that they would show a Carfax for a different car. So I didn't, like, at no point. And I worked in dealerships. You got to keep this in mind. I worked for 3 different dealerships. Okay, I know how shady salespeople and stuff are. I get it. And even with that knowledge, never did anyone even consider doing something like that at the dealerships I worked at, ever. It wasn't even something I was aware of that occurred. If you're buying something, definitely take the Carfax out that they show you and compare it with the VIN number on the car. And make sure you are, you know, it's as it should be. Secondly, I would highly caution people against going to CarMax. One of the reasons why I was confident buying through CarMax is I had customers come in. I worked at brand-specific dealerships in the service departments, and people would come in after buying a car at CarMax to get services and stuff, and you know, they always talked about the buying experience was great, they got a great price, the car was good, all this stuff. So doing a little research and everything after I found out that apparently CarMax has some history of buying wrecked cars and passing them off as not. Now, I can't validate that at all. This is an internet rumor, but I will say that my personal experience would kind of lend itself to that's true. Obviously, I'm sure people have had great experiences with CarMax, and CarMax has sold some wonderful cars, and there's no issue. But if you're going to go that route, be extremely careful and check everything. If they seem slightly off when you ask a question, get more information or walk away. Because this was a huge financial endeavor. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to, I mean, it's a really embarrassing story, to be honest. It's a really embarrassing story. There was some red flags and stuff, and I should have noticed it, and the old rule, never buy a car in the dark. There's so many things. There's so many things in hindsight that, like, I just feel like a complete fool. And I feel stupid. Rather than try to act like everything's great and the world is all perfect and life is perfect and put the filters on and all this other bull crap, that I would just make a video and go, I was an idiot. I made a huge mistake. Please don't be like me. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave this at that. If you watched this all the way through, thank you very much. If you're still paying attention to anything I put out, I'm getting better. It hasn't been 2 years since my last video, so a little bit of improvement, right? Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff if you want to. And yeah, I'm gonna hopefully be making some more videos on occasion, possibly in the car, possibly walking around, maybe on a bicycle. Who knows really what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this at that. Again, thank you very much for watching, and moral of the story, don't be like me. Just don't be like me. I guess until next time, bye.